Hello and welcome to another edition of Latino Theater Company Live. I'm your host Javi Moreno, and today we'll be having a conversation with a cast of Dementia, a production that's going on right now on demand. You can watch it anytime, all the way into November 5th. You can watch it on youtube.com/Latino Theater CO Company, or watch it via our website, the latc.org/live. As I mentioned, you can watch it on demand for free at any time, 1 a.m., 2 p.m., 6 p.m. You can pause it, come back, and there'll still be more action left for you to watch. That goes all the way up to November 5th. Today, we're having a conversation with some of the artists from Dementia, maybe some surprise guests that will be logging on shortly. Well, without further ado, let's kick this off. And before we do, go Dodgers. Our boys in blue. We're the city of champions, y'all. Here we go. Hey, Evelina. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, Javi.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Oh,
As I just mentioned, I'm Javi Moreno. I'm the host for Latino Theater Company Live. And we'll start off with Evelina and go all the way around introducing ourselves.
Hi, I'm Evelina Fernandez. I'm the playwright and also acted in the play. The play was written by me, but in collaboration with the Latino Theater Company, as always. I'm at my mom's. So you see all these little knickknacks in the back? It's because I'm at my mom's. And also,
They're not yours?
and also she may be interrupting us, just a fair warning. Go ahead, Jose Luis Valenzuela.
he's muted.
Muted. On your end.
Jose Luis. Okay. Skip.
You see behind it.
There
Behind
you
it.
go.
I'm in my house.
He's
I'm not
muted.
at mom's.
Oh, wow. On your end.
Anyway, yeah,
Jose
no,
Luis.
I kept,
Okay.
You see behind it.
There
Behind
you
it.
go.
I'm in my house. I'm not at mom's.
Oh, wow. On your end.
Anyway, something
Yes.
wrong with my computer because
Oh,
I
yeah.
hear the voices over and over and over and over.
Sounds like someone's chewing.
There's something
I'm in my house. I'm not at mom's.
There's an echo.
bad happening with your sound.
Reboot your computer, Jose Luis. Hi, I'm Jeff Rivas, founding company member. Played Eddie.
Sounds like someone's chewing.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Played Eddie 3 times and in the movie, and we're trying to finish the movie so it can come out.
Yeah.
My name is Ralph Cole Jr. I had the honor and distinction of playing Lupe.
Yes, you did.
Nice.
I'm Sal Lopez. I played Mo. And this is my beautiful wife, Yerbini, the choreographer.
Yes.
Hi,
Awesome.
everybody.
And who just left us was
Hi,
Jose Luis Valenzuela, who is the director. And hopefully shortly, Lucy Rodriguez will be joining us. And maybe someone else. So yesterday, as I mentioned, we premiered the virtual archival footage of Dementia. I know, Ralph, you mentioned you had watched it, but this production, let's go a little bit back in history, back into time. Evelina, when did this project start? Because I know that we've done it 3 times at the theater, and it's also been in production as a film. When did it start?
Well, I know we the first production was in 2001. So I started writing it before that. It's loosely based on true events. And it was written way back in the 90s when we were still losing so many friends to AIDS. And so I wanted to write about our experience, the experience we went through when our compadre Jose Salcedo died. And just to be clear, this is not about Jose, but it's inspired by his life and the experiences
Mhm.
we went through when he was dying of AIDS. And so I was commissioned by CTG, Luis Alfaro, and Diane Rodriguez. And so I went in and pitched 3 different ideas, and they chose this one. So that's when I started working on it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
So it was done. So
1999, maybe
wow, and then
2000.
so the
And
at
then
the
we
LATC.
did the first reading. The first reading we did of it was at Plaza de la Raza.
Mm.
It was I'm on a coma. So yeah.
And
So
then we
Plaza
performed
de
a
la
piece of it
Raza,
up
like
north in San Jose.
Oh yeah. We did that too. What year was that, Sal? I don't remember.
I don't remember, but it was, a Culture Clash was also presenting something. Yeah, I was at Berkeley, wasn't it? In Berkeley somewhere? Yeah, it was in Berkeley.
It was in Berkeley at La Peña, right? At La
That's
Peña.
it, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, La Peña Cultural Center.
Yeah, we did an excerpt.
Okay, Mom. Good night. Yeah. Yeah, that was the very, very first time that we did anything from the show. We did an excerpt of it at the La Peña in Berkeley, and that was interesting.
Yeah,
That was the first time that
we had no set or anything. We
before
just,
Ralph came in, there was production was yeah.
Wasn't that the time that we
Is
also
everybody
went
hearing
to?
me?
Can you hear me? Can
What's
you hear
that?
me, guys?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the trip that we also went to drag clubs or something to do some research? You guys remember that?
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
because
it
my
was in
nephew was
San
with me.
Francisco
I
or
remember
something.
Marcus was with me. It was weird.
What was it?
Went to some
Yeah.
drag clubs to
Oh,
do some
yes.
research.
Yeah, to do some research. So, I don't know.
Yes, and we went to one here in yeah, we went to one here in Silver Lake.
Oh, right.
It was what was the name of that place?
It'll come to me in a
Yeah, and we
second.
spoke to some of the performers there. I remember that, and we watched them put on makeup
Was it
and
the cha-cha?
everything. And
Wow.
yeah,
Club? No.
it was that. Yeah, that was a great experience. Remember that?
Well, hello, Lucy. If you
I
can introduce
thought that was a StreamYard. I don't know what the deal is.
StreamYards always, but if you can introduce yourself and also Jose Luis, now that you're back and joining us.
Hi, Lucy Rodriguez, part of the Latino Theater Company, and really happy to be have worked on Dementia all the time, all the reiterations of it, and so glad that Ralph is joining us.
Hey,
So,
Lucy.
and I played Alice. So.
Alice and Jose Luis.
Yes, I'm Jose Luis. How are you doing? Jose Luis Valenzuela. I'm the director of Dementia, and yeah, working with these beautiful people. Where is that noise coming from?
I think it's Jeff.
Me?
Yeah, look, if I mute you. Oh no, it's still going.
Take out the earphones. Maybe that's it.
Not me.
It went
There it
away.
is.
How do you know it's Jeff? How do you know it's Jeff?
Oh, because I can mute you from over here and I can see who else is still talking. Wait up.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's
it's actually on Evelina's side.
great to see
Sorry.
you all again.
Hey, Jose Luis.
How are you, Ralph? It's so great to see you.
I know. Thank you. Hey, Lucy.
Hello, Lucy. I love you in orange. I love you in orange.
Thank you, darling.
So we did it at the LATC. It was done 2001, 2010, and 2017. this production was the one that's airing right now on demand is the 2010 production.
Yes.
What were some of the different? I know that with each show that we've seen throughout the years, like the trilogy, like premeditation. What were some of the differences? And everybody, Ralph, everybody has all been in the same production. Oh, nice. What
Well,
were some of the?
I was in 2010 and 2017.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
no, in 2001, I think, is that when we did it? 2001? 2001?
Yes.
That was right. Yeah, 2001, because it was also the same year that we started Virgen. Remember,
Yeah.
we were closing Dementia,
Harvey,
and
I'm gonna
That's
go to my
right.
laptop and see if that's better.
Okay.
Yeah, that was probably, and that was somebody else. That we had a different cast in 2001 or 2002, whenever we did it, and then the 2010 and 2017. The 2010-17, I think, was the same cast.
It's the same cast, yes.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, and so in the 2010 production, you had these big statues, right? Can you talk a little bit about that set?
And the 2010, well, yeah, I mean, when we did it in 2010, that's the one who had the biggest set. We actually had Christopher Ash was the set designer at the time. I think, and it's just the idea of the world of the play and why, and taking it out from Matisse and what the bodies represent. The idea that in that world at the time, and I know people have issues with this, but when we started with this play, AIDS had no face, really, especially for the Latino community, especially for us. I mean, we haven't embraced it, and the idea that people could have this is why the bodies, if you see all the bodies, they have no heads, but they're bodies, that have no personality or identity. So that was the idea behind when we were creating the show with the designers.
What was that like in terms of just even of that time, but also as Latinos doing a play, that dealt with, drag queens, the LGBTQ community, and AIDS?
I think even when we do, anybody can talk. Anybody else could talk about how. Meaning, my compadre knows because he had a lot of friends who went to see the play, who talked to him about the play. I did in the three different, meaning everybody. Ralph, meaning when he came in 2010, I think it's important.
Yeah, I think when we first did the play, which was back in 2000, even back then, I think I didn't feel comfortable inviting some of the members of my family because I didn't think it would be. I didn't think it would be something they would be enjoy. They'd probably make them uncomfortable. But then by the time we did it, the 2017, things changed so much. It really is amazing, how much change had happened in society, and also just some of the members of the family had come out by then too. But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
But when Ralph came in, I think Ralph, when we did it with the first time, it was really raw. I think when the first time we did it, we were all much younger, obviously, and the subject matter was much more contemporary and raw, and it had a different resonance, I think, with the audiences that came to see it. Then when we did it with Ralph, we had evolved some in terms of just maturity as actors, and I think Jose Luis is a director, and I think it had evolved to a different level, and a different quality, and then bringing in Ralph with a different energy as well, and it was just a really a wonderful experience. I thought, there was so much more color in it. you know, quote unquote, in more ways than one. You know, it was, and also we brought in uh, Esperanza, and Esperanza, who I'd never worked with really,
Oh wow.
and I don't think any of us had worked with her, right? Am I
I
correct?
had.
I think that was.
I don't remember.
I don't think so. And so it was really interesting to play, to you know, have a relationship with her on the stage since I watched her grow up, you know, and now here we were acting in the same play. That was a different experience as well.
Yeah, and just her character in the play, what she had to do with you and for you, was an interesting dynamic on stage and perhaps off, you know, because she was having to clean you and change you, you know, so that added a poignant dynamic to the two of you guys.
And she also brought a different element as well. You know, Tonantzin was wonderful, but Esperanza brought a different element as well. She was fresh, you know. She was right out of college, I think, and so it was. She brought a really nice quality to Tamara.
Yeah, speaking to that point about where where that character Tamara has to clean Mo, I remember Jose Luis saying, "Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, let the audience feel it. I mean, this is what it is. Caring for someone at this stage, it is what it is, and it is okay that it is absolutely quiet." And you know, Sal, just let that indignity of it or that feeling just rest on your face. That's okay.
Yeah, I just got chills as you said that, Lucy, because the way Jose Luis directed that moment, Lupe turned away also just to give them privacy, the respect of privacy. You know, it's interesting because it's something we all do every single day. But when you watch it on stage, somebody doing it to someone else, it just becomes a whole different dynamic.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I hadn't seen it, so it was great to watch all of you. And but Ralph, you just in the second half when you come in and sing, oh my God, you just tear that song up. That was great.
You know, to your earlier point, I think when we did it in 2010, society was more accepting of cross-dressers and transgender and gay. And so it wasn't so alarming as it would have been in 2001, like you were saying, Sal, because in 2010, your whole family came, all the brothers came. And because I can understand your trepidation and hesitation in 2001, they're going to be seeing their brother in a dress, dying of some disease that we don't really know about and that the Latino community is not really a part of yet or doesn't talk about it yet. So by 2010, 2010 allowed us to have a more comfortability with it and more acceptance.
Ralph, what was that like? One of the things that we've talked about throughout the course of our conversations and watching the archival footage is a lot of. You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh, weird.
Can't hear.
Oh, we have run out of.
Germany, he's talking to me, so yeah, it really doesn't make a difference. Okay, thanks. Okay.
What happened?
I was being silly.
Oh,
What was that like?
Yeah, our little speaker ran out of.
We're good. We can hear you now. Sorry, Javi.
What was a lot of throughout the running theme that's been going on is like a lot of first time watching ourselves, you know, perform, right? We never really get the chance. What was that like for you watching yourself in this play yesterday, or watching this play yesterday? Were you able to see the 2001 production, or?
No, unfortunately, I've never seen the 2001. I mean, watching it last night, it brought back a flood of memories. It was such a powerful experience working with the Latino Theater Company because I was an outsider, but everybody made me feel so welcome. And at the audition, I mean, even, Javier, it's interesting. At the audition, I was trying to talk myself out of the job because I thought, wow, 14 songs to sing and half of them in Spanish. And, aren't you all going to find a Mexican somewhere here in LA that can really pull this off? And, but because everybody embraced me so well, watching it again last night showed me how courage surpasses all. And watching myself, to be totally superficial, I was loving my body and my arms and those dresses. And my wig was Lucy's wig. And I love that wig. When I put that wig on, I felt like Lupe, like a different person. But watching myself last night, I thought, wow, I pulled it off and we all pulled it off. And I was accepted. That I was the most nervous about not being accepted by the Latino community. And that was completely irrelevant. Everyone embraced me that saw it. So watching it last night, it renewed my courage to always just go for it.
You were fierce, Ralph.
And she sounded
Speaking to vanity, I was like, I was never comfortable with that, with my costume, with my wardrobe for that play. And last night I was like, damn, I looked good. I was all right. I looked good.
That little mint green skirt, yes.
Yeah, and the dance, I was like, we're all in step. We're all doing it. It's good.
We're all able to bend down in 2010 because during I Amor, we were all just like swiveling down to the floor. I was thinking, God, if we had to do that shit today, I don't know if my knees would do it. Okay.
And that song was so fast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That
So
tempo was
fast.
really fast. Amazing how we got that done.
Yerbany, can you talk?
When we did it in 2017, your mom was really worried. She was like, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to pull it off. Remember her?
It was fast.
And it was harder. It was harder.
Getting
Can you
it
talk
all.
a little bit about the choreography for this production, Dementia? I mean, some of those things that you talked about the cast going to these drag bars and research and stuff like that. What were those elements were brought into for the production, or just music? What was the inspiration? Yeah.
Yeah, like when.
Again, I look for silhouettes and tableaus, those type of movements and things to focus on.
Well, she
so
would give me notes all the time on my little dance that I did. What was the name of it? Not Nature Boy.
Oh, I forgot about
Well,
that.
you needed
Huh?
What, Evelina?
you needed those notes.
Record the notes.
Oh, do it right.
Well, I
But,
mean,
like always, Yerbany works with what she has, and I thought she did a great job in the number right before the intermission. Because we all were doing our own movements, and then she just would pretty much tweak them and suggest things and then go with it, and and she would always sell it, commit to it, do it full out, and yeah, it looked good. I thought it looked great.
Oh God, it was really exciting. And like for me, when we did it, like Yerbany was so free with me. She let me do what I wanted to do, but because I was on the upper platform and could look down at everyone,
Yeah.
I just took snippets of what people were doing and added it to Lupe.
Mm-hmm.
Up and down those stairs so quickly, Ralph.
Oh my goodness. I wish DDLP was here because remember the night that the tape sped forward and I was singing This Is My Life and this is my life. And it was like, boom, I had to run down the stairs and Danny De La Paz was like, drag queen. drag queen coming down, get out of the way. Oh my goodness. I lived for that. I lived for it. It was a wonderful piece. And you know, I was what I texted you earlier, Sal. People that watched it last night or that have commented on Facebook about it said, wow, what a performance, what a show. We made such an impact on theater audiences with that show. And that's why, Javier, I liked the set in 2010 because it was provocative and evocative. And what Jose Luis was saying about the imagery. And to your point, Yerbani, too, the silhouettes that you came up with, they mimic the silhouettes on the set. And I love this set in 2010 because Mo's living space was just more defined. And with the bed and in just the way, yeah, you know, in the 2010, it was a little more realistic. In 2017, it was more symbolic of things. You know, like Jose Luis in 2017, when the phone rang, it came from midair, you know, whereas in 2010, there was really just the phone right there, you know, so there was some more realism in the 2010, and that's what I liked. That's what helped that production to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking when I was looking through the play, when I was watching it, gee, I wish I had one person, another rehearsal, and I'm just going to watch this person and then make all the corrections. There's just no way everybody's moving at the same time, and there are a lot of people on stage, especially with that number with the bed and all of that. So now I have an iPhone, so the last two plays I've done, I've been able to record and look at it and see everybody at the same time, which I didn't have back then. But
right,
we might be getting notes now from you.
Yeah, but
after the conversation,
I've never seen your entrance, and I remember Jose Luis when you staged that entrance, you said no, he's gonna come out of here. You know, when he comes out of the dresser, right? He's a dresser, and I remember vividly when you said, yeah, he's gonna come out of here, and I'd never really got to see it. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
The writing and everything.
Oh my God, that was such a great entrance. For an actor, it was such a great entrance to be able to do that. That was you, me, and Jeff on the stage for that.
Yep.
So, and then right now, Dementia has been in the editing room for a film.
Yes. We're almost finished with it. We need to tweak the sound, and we have it right now with someone who is going to be helping us with that.
Javier,
No, what's interesting with the film, because I've seen the film, of course. When I would describe the play, yes, it's about someone and he's dying of age, but it's really funny. I would always say, but it's really funny, and that humor element it's much more poignant in the film than it is funny. Even though the lines are the same, to me it reads differently on film than it did on stage. And that's just my experience with the film. It's a more poignant film.
I think you're right, Lucy. Yeah, it's
and Javi,
it's a different medium.
the one thing I'd like to address that no one has talked about yet is this show actually put us on the map. This show has got us to where we are today. It's the first show that we workshop quite a bit and really invested a lot of time into it. It's one of my complaints about that of we don't have that time that we used to have to be able to develop our shows as well as we developed this show. And with Evelina constantly working on it, she kept fine-tuning it. And on our last night of performing, you know, we were someone in the audience raised their hand and gave us $10,000 to help us move forward. And then we got the building, and subsequently have been doing not quite the same thing, same process, but definitely trying to do as much of a workshop and doing readings of it before we actually put it on its feet. So this play has a lot of meaning for me in terms not of just the content and what we did over the course of its life, but what it has done for the company itself.
That's a good point, Jeff. I think that
You're muted. I think you're muted.
No.
No, he's not.
Oh, okay.
That's a good point, Jeff, because I think that raised the bar in terms of the our presentation, our just our aesthetic, and even for me as an actor, I mean, it really expanded me in terms of just being given a role that was so meaty, and the opportunity to play that role, and I really just it was a real great opportunity for me to grow as an actor under the guidance of Jose Luis and the words of Evelina. It really, I'm very grateful for that role.
I really think it speaks to willingness to take a risk, the courage to take a risk, because as Evelina was developing, I mean, even on the opening night, we're like, is our audience gonna like this? There was a lot of trepidation. We came at it with more confidence in the 2010 production, but yeah, there was a. This is different for us. This is not Lavikia. This is different, and so it was. I think kudos to artists that take risks and follow their heart, and do want to say something, and also to speak to Jeff's point about the development of the play. As I was watching it, I was going, it clips along very well. It didn't have. There wasn't at any time that there was like a lull or a drop in the energy or something. Was always it just clipped really well. I thought the pacing was excellent, and I think that speaks to, of course, the direction, but just also the script itself. It moves, and it's good.
And one other thing I wanted to share was just that Lupe, one of our company members, was still alive when we were first developing it. And in one of our workshop performances of it, she hadn't seen it, didn't know that much about it, and she was front and center in the audience. And there was one moment when Lucy's character Alice and my character Eddie have the big reveal, one of the big reveals, and it was quiet as a mouse. And Lupe just says, "Oh shit!" So and to me, that I knew that we were on to something really big when she reacted that way. In our first version of that show. So I still to this day remember that feeling, and having her in that audience meant a lot.
I think one of the things I remember about this show was that I think it was really the first time at our theater that well, like Jeff said, it was really the beginning of us, working out this process and this aesthetic as an ensemble, as a company. But also it was the first time that we brought together in the same theater the gay community and the Chicano community. And I remember the first time like looking out into the audience and thinking, wow, this is great. That these two audiences, are in here together watching this play. I saw a comment on Facebook when because of the description of the play, and somebody said, "Stop perpetuating that Latinos are any less are more homophobic than other communities. Stop that racist assumption," or something like that. And I, like we said before, when we did this play the first time, it was for our community at that time. It was, risky. It was, cutting edge at the time. By the time we did it again in 2010, it was less so. And then by the time we did it in 2017, it becomes a period piece, right? So, because we're talking about, the ravishes of AIDS, in the Latino community. So that was something that I'll never forget. Just like looking out in the audience and thinking, wow, this is great that these two audiences are here together. You know, we hadn't had that in our theater before that.
And also, when we first started it, you weren't talking. It was always hush hush, like artists had passed. It's like they died, yeah, but don't say they died of AIDS, or you know. And it's like, but it was so, and no one was really talking about it. And even when we had our discussions early on and stuff, that was like, it was so strange, saying, why can't we? No, you just don't want to say that, you know. And the difference over the years of how it's developed and how it's been more accepted, and you see the actually, you know, someone like Magic Johnson, who is a walking testament of what you can, you know, the positive end of that disease.
You know, one thing I was just thinking of, listening to what you just said, Evelina, and just recalling the scene, Lucy, with you and Jeff up on the platform about he could get better. He could get better. How interesting is it from 2010 to now 2020, we have COVID, and we could develop a play about the COVID now. Mo is already gone, but the difference now is, Lucy, we all could have this disease. You know, like, you know, you and Jeff could be having a conversation. I could get better. I could get better, you know, and it's just it was just an interest. Back in 2010, presumably Lucy wasn't anywhere near having AIDS, but in 2020, she could be more likely to have been exposed to COVID. And I just thought, you know, it's just interesting how cyclical things are. You guys started in 2001, then we did it 2010, and it's more accepting. 2017, it becomes a period piece. Now in 2020, we have a whole new virus to confront.
Absolutely.
What were some?
Yeah, it's great to hear. I mean, this is interesting because now that this is all the plays that we're going to show except La Virgen. I think somehow one day we will have time to sit down with because this is when we were developing Dementia, is when we used to meet twice a week. Yes, to work things. We used to meet twice a week, yes, to work on something, and you know, and that changed in a way that we don't meet twice a week. And if we're going to workshop something, we have to do an equity contract, you know what I mean? And find out that the actors are available, that we're not, you know, it has become very complicated production-wise in that way. But at the time when we were doing this in Solitude, in a way, was the time when we used to meet twice a week regardless. If we were producing anything, it was just to, let's work on this and let's figure it out. And it was more like workshops.
Yeah, it was creating to create.
That's right, creating to create. So because we were only concerned with the artistic part of it, knowing we already knew, meaning we had kind of themes or ideas or, you know, and Evelina had an idea for this play, but you know, he had done some sort of a draft to it, but it was really how to put it to the test in a regular every twice a week workshops that we were doing. You know, we were improvising. Like I remember saying, okay, you choose the character you want to work on for me.
Yeah, people played different characters. We didn't when we were workshopping, we were not playing the characters that we were going to play, that we landed up playing in the play.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So yeah, it was you know, really a gratifying kind of process that, you know, once you become a producing company and you're running a building and all of that stuff, it becomes harder and harder to continue, you know, creating for creation's sake. And so, yeah, I mean, it would be great. I mean, the plan is to begin that process again when we start expanding the company, right?
Right.
But that's the idea. I mean, if
the
a
plan.
company comes, if a company comes, when we expand the company, we're going to have to go back to the twice a week workshops.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Where people are willing to come and just workshop, and that's not necessarily that it's going to end up in a production. I mean, this is
Mhm.
when we started Dementia was not necessarily that was going to end up in a production. It's why we did so many workshops of it.
Yeah, we did a lot of workshops of it, and then we did, before we even did the first production, we did a workshop production in front of an audience. You guys remember that, when we just had the white sheets,
Right.
the white sheets over the furniture,
It was
and
all
that,
black and white.
huh?
It was all black and white.
Yeah,
Remember?
it was all black and white, that version. That was the very first workshop that we ever put up in front of an audience. Yeah, and then the other thing about this play, I think that's important is that, I mean, we had done. Are you guys hearing an echo when I talk?
Yeah, it's coming
Oh.
from Sal and Urbany's computer. I can mute it.
Really?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just muted them.
well, so the other thing about this is that we, you know, before we became the Latino Theater Company, we were the Latino Theater Lab under the auspices of the Los Angeles Theater Center, the previous incarnation of the Los Angeles Theater Center, and then we came back to do Luminaria as the play, right? Right, because we had gone to Plaza
Right.
de la Plaza and all that, and then we came back to do Luminarias, the play. That was really our first equity show, and but Dementia was really the one that kind of said, okay, we're a company that does equity shows, and you know, and this is who we are as the Latino Theater Company. And so, you know, at a time when so many people are talking about whether or not, you know, they should pay actors, and the whole thing with the 99 seat thing, and you know, and actors not getting paid for those shows. And I get it, totally get it. As a producing company, we know how much it costs to, you know, pay salaries and benefits and all of that stuff. At the same time, I take great pride, and I know I speak for the company, that even if it's a small amount of money, we always pay an equity contract. And we've been doing that since Luminarias that we did in the 1990s, right? So, I mean, I think, you know, that's really something to celebrate, that we've been doing 30 some years of productions using equity contracts and always paying the actors, because, you know, it's interesting that when you know, you look at the hierarchy in the American theater, and especially in off Broadway, or you know, 99 seat or whatever you call it, it's really easy to not pay the actors. You know, so I really take pride in that we always pay the actors. It's not, you know, we're not CTG, we're not South Coast Rep, but people get a paycheck, and they get their benefits paid to equity. So, you know, I always celebrate that.
And we never did our show in a 99 seat theater anyway. So other than Melancholia, but that was, you know, the younger lab. So
yeah,
we've always performed in larger theaters.
Yeah,
Melancholia, which is interesting, because that was a whole other generation that it almost took a year, you know, 2 years. That was meeting like 3 times a week. We were doing workshops for Melancholia like 3 times a week for 2 years. I mean, that was a major development for that play in relationship to workshop, and that was a very young company.
And it was a big company. There was a lot. There were a lot of actors in that company.
There was like 15 people. I mean, this is something that, so when the issue is because we grew up out of the LATC and then we went to the taper, we were always an equity company, you know? We were always paid equity wages. It was not easy for us to transfer without pay. It was impossible. That was not going to happen, you know? But also, we did use lots of time for development. So in order for us to get produced, because if we didn't develop something, nobody would produce us. You know what I mean? So we needed to create the work in order for Bill Bushnell to say, yes, do it. I'll produce you. Or even at the taper, you know, with Bandido and Carpa Clash. You know, we have to create the work and workshop it and make it, show it to the artistic directors that this is possible for them to produce the plays. You know, so we're still in the same boat. We still, it's not that we have, it's only to prove to ourselves that the work has to be ready in order to be on the stage. And that's what takes time, which is the workshop idea.
Yeah. And I know we're talking about us, Javi, but the other element that I think the company is proud about in Jose Luis's leadership role is all the designers that he's brought under his wing that have developed their skills through our shows and have gone on to become prominent designers, teachers, professors that have all come through all of our programming, you know, and performances. So a lot of times people don't, you know, they see us on stage, but all the set designers, the costume designer, the lighting designer, the sound designer, all those people are equally important. And we've brought quite a few of them through the Latino Theater Company. And my hats off to Jose Luis for helping develop those designers also.
Yeah. We actually have one question. It's from our vecino, our conversation strong supporter. How does it feel knowing that the LATC's mission is reaching and inspiring so many people amidst COVID? Thank you always. This is for anybody.
Well, I mean, we hope it is. You know, it's so different for us to be offering our programming virtually, and we hope that you know, looking back at our previous productions and then doing readings of plays that we plan on doing in the future, who knows when, you know, now it becomes, you know, it kind of melancholic, you know, because we honestly don't know when our theater is going to open again. You know, we just don't know when we'll be able to put up plays again. Yeah. It's you know, and that uncertainty, you know, makes you look at the work in a completely different way. You know, it makes you look at the work and say, wow, look at what we've done over the years. And I wonder if we're going to be able to do it again, you know. So it you know, it's a beautiful thing to be able to offer them. Now, if we would have known that these archival videos were going to be shown to the world, we probably would have done a better job, but we didn't, you know, but thank goodness we have them. And thank goodness that we have a recording of our past work, you know, that's important, you know, and I feel so privileged to, you know, have this artistic family and to, you know, it's Sal and Lucy and Jeff and Yerbany and, you know, Jose Luis and then the other people that, you know, we've embraced as part of our family, you know, Ralph and Javi and, you know, Elia and, you know, so many people that we've worked with over the years. And, you know, it's kind of historical, and it's kind of, you look at the work and you when you're doing it, you just don't realize, you know, that it's important. You just don't realize how important it is, you know, and who knows, maybe, you know, 50 years from now, when the lease at the LATC expires, some young people will look back at these plays, the way we look back at, say, the American canon, and maybe people will look back at this work and think, wow, that's part of the American canon too, and it's important, and it was important that these people did that work.
Yeah.
Speaking to the work and the time, how it's going to be viewed that, we ventured into virtual theater, which we thought that was not even a thing, right? Ever until now. And I think it speaks to, again, looking at the circumstances, and in this, COVID being the circumstance, and not letting the circumstance define you. It's like you're not closing your eyes to it, and you're not letting it stop you. You're finding a way. I mean, we have found a way. And that's kind of amazing. And I hope that when people look back at this whole virtual theater, because I think we've tapped into something that's not going to go away, even when live theater comes back, just because of the outreach it has,
Right.
to be able to see a production that was done in LA, to be able to see it, in Brazil or whatever.
Mexico
It's not
City.
going to go away. It's here. Now that we have the technology,
Yeah.
the wonderful use of technology. And so I think it's going to be wonderful to see that, okay, how did these artists move forward in a pandemic and not, embrace the situation and not let them stop from creating, not let them,
Right. Yeah.
stymie in any way. And I think that's it's kind of a double-edged sword or something to embrace the gifts of COVID. There are gifts to be mined during this time. Just the time itself, the fact that we have this time. Okay, how are you going to use this time? What are you are you going to bitch and moan about it? What are you going to do about it? And I think it speaks to us as a company and us as individuals that we have found a way, and that's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, well said.
Yeah, and also the thing about COVID, I feel like at the beginning of this, strange time that we're going through, and you think about it, and you think, everybody on the planet, it's not just our country, it's not just our city, it's everybody on the planet is experiencing this together. And I think at the beginning of the lockdown, a lot of us were romanticizing, the possibilities, right? I remember thinking, posting something like, okay, the universe said, time out. You need to think about what your priorities are. And I posted that, not knowing, of course, that, I don't know, 8 months later, we would still be in it with no end in sight. So, there's a process of everything, of everything, of denial, acceptance, all of the stages. And I think that now, even though I'm very, anxious about the fact that we don't know when this is going to end, like Lucy said, I feel like it's a time to take advantage of the moments that we have, because it is, like Lucy says, it's also a gift. It's a gift for me to be able to, be with my husband more than I've ever spent time with him before, right? I shouldn't complain about it.
Right? Especially if he puts on his pants, it's okay.
I
That's
shouldn't
another play.
complain about it. I should embrace it. I should. I mean, sometimes we look at each other and we go, "Wow, are we, lucky we have each other during this process?" But yeah. So embrace it. Embrace if we embrace the moment and do all the things that we're not alone. We haven't been able to do in the past. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting to hear Lucy and Evelina, and also the question. The truth is, for the company, we are doers. You know what I mean? This is the thing. I mean, if you think about, we have survived for 35 years doing this together. Just doing this together. And we inspire ourselves, each other, or we challenge each other, but we always come up with something to do. We never have nothing to do. We do something in order for us to be like, we have to do something. And I think that's just what the company is. I mean, the company, that's what we do. We always doing something. If it's COVID, I'm sure if it's, I mean, whatever it is, we are going to because we have survived through. Some people don't know and don't understand, because now it's history, how difficult it is to have an ensemble, one, with the same group of people, and two, is for that ensemble to produce work for many years. I mean, there's very few ensembles in the world, and the country, that actually are ensembles in the way we are, and actually been producing for 35 years. That is not that many. That is not that many ensembles like that anymore. Meaning, ensembles were a thing of the 70s, and usually lasted for 10 or 15 years. And I think that's
well, we could consider ourselves in a rut.
These help us, I think, to be able to not stop, to be able to continue. And it's why the creation of the new ensemble is so important to us, because they're going to have to help each other continue, and everyone. I mean, that's really what's important.
Yeah, the other thing is that, now that we've shown all of our archival footage, I mean, we really have to figure out what we're going to do now. We never, like I said, we didn't know that we were going to be, dark, or that our theater was going to be dark for, possibly another year. So now we're really going to have to get creative and figure out, what we're going to offer our audience. Our community, our people. Yeah. And then the other thing is the whole thing of, the new movement in the foundations to rectify the systemic racism that's, been affecting the way they fund people. This is a moment. This is a time where, African American, Black, Brown, people of color, Black, Indigenous people of color may get the funding that they deserve, and that the predominantly white institutions, may not. We'll see. We'll see if it really happens.
Well, I want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for the questions.
Ralph has something he wants to say.
Yeah, Ralph, go ahead.
Just in closing, Esperanza wanted me to share with everyone and the world, El Mundo, that in the 2010 and 2017 productions, every night it was Esperanza that applied my eyelashes. Thank you, Esperanza.
You know what she told me? She said, "Oh, they're showing the 2010. I was so much better in the 2017."
Yeah. Well, thank you, Javi.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Javi.
In wrapping, I do want to say,
Have a-
I'll age myself here, but a good old man from my neighborhood of East LA, Edward James Olmos, selected a few kids from our graduating high school, Roosevelt High School, and took 3 kids to watch Dementia 2001 at the LATC. And I was there as this little Chicano kid from Boyle Heights, East LA. I had always been involved in theater, but I had never seen people that looked like me on stage. And I remember seeing all of you on stage, and at the end of the night, being surrounded by it was like a drag queen group night. And I don't know, they were so excited, and I was so excited, and I mean that completely changed my life. And it was on that same stage where I earned my equity card, so it's a full circle. So thank you all you are changing lives still to this day. So thank you so much. And with that, everybody watching, you can still see Dementia for free on demand, October 27th. Well, now all the way to November 5th. As I mentioned, you can watch it for free, youtube.com/Latino Theater Company or the latc.org/live. Look at that beautiful photo and set for free anytime. Watch it, share the link with a family member. So that everyone can watch some free theater right now and support. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all very soon. More coming. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Love you all.